Security site, Hill Air Force Base, Lawrence Livermore Lab, Edwards Air Force Base, and Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton.
I don't want to sound like I'm an all-knowing guru about UFOs, but those are UFOs. We are this close to nuclear annihilation right now.
Yes.
The danger has never been worse, never been more harsh, never been more believable.
So what are we seeing with these quote-unquote Jersey drones? Well, there's a great general model for critical thinking proposed by Thomas Bayes, an 18th century British statistician and philosopher. It says that when you're looking at new data, you should use prior data to analyze it. If somebody lies to you about important information 4 times and you catch them in those lies, the 5th time they say something to you, you should maybe doubt the veracity of what they're saying. So if you don't have the data from Robert Hastings' work, your analysis of what's happening today in New Jersey and all around the world is going to be wildly off. You're going to be subject to psychological manipulation by the media, Pentagon, and pretty much anyone trying to explain these sightings away as mass hysteria, hobbyist drones, or covert gamma ray detectors looking for nuclear material on the eastern seaboard. All of these lies seem more likely as possibilities for truth if you don't have any prior data. But if you do know that DC was overrun by UFOs in 1952, if you know about Lincoln LaPaz's work, if you know about Bob Jacobs' sighting at Vandenberg in '64, if you know about what Robert Salas experienced in 1967, if you know about the F.E. Warren case as late as 2010, then all of this might seem more likely to be a simple UFO flag, the likes of which we've been seeing for the last 75 years with the exact same characteristics as what we're seeing today.
The nuclear connection is long-standing, widespread, and ongoing.
What did it feel like when he was looking at you?
I felt scared. I felt scared because I've never seen such a person like that before.
In 1994, 62 elementary school kids at the Ariel School in Zimbabwe said that they saw a silver craft descend from the sky and land on a field near the school. Well, guess where the Ariel School was?
And you know, an Ariel School that was near a uranium mining site.
That is right, as far as I understand.
Yeah.
And what about that story that Vice ran in 2022 about a little town in Japan that's obsessed with UFOs? It's a place called Ino, and it's actually right next to Fukushima's nuclear grid, which has been up and running since the 70s. Because the town has been such a UFO hotspot, they even built a museum dedicated to UFOs in the 90s. And after an earthquake famously triggered a nuclear power meltdown there in 2011, the chief monk of a local temple said, "The UFOs came after the explosion. There were so many of them. I was shocked. Radioactive energy was leaking everywhere. I believe the UFOs came to readjust the flood of radioactive energy in order to save us." Similarly, Harvard PhD Jensine Andreessen writes about UFO activity at the height of the Chernobyl disaster, when many people in the area observed a UFO come, stay for 3 minutes, shine a light at the reactor, and depart. I could go on all day. In 1973, Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker claimed that they were abducted and examined before being released by aliens while fishing near Pascagoula, Mississippi.
Once inside the craft, Hickson remembers being examined by an oblong-shaped instrument that hovered around him. He was completely paralyzed. Only his eyes could move.
This came to be known as the famous Pascagoula abduction. Well, people rarely point out that Pascagoula is a strategic nuclear site. In fact, it's where most of the American nuclear subs were built at the time. Even take the famous 2004 Nimitz sighting, where a Tic Tac was detected by the USS Princeton. Aircraft carriers like the USS Princeton are notoriously nuclear powered, and they might have some relevant precious cargo on board. Even the Nimitz sighting of 2004, Lou Elizondo, I think he's sort of bound by his, obligations and clearance and stuff. And so he has to say, I think Nimitz might be nuclear powered. And then he's now gone as far as saying, and it might carry some tactical nukes on board, or nukes on board, or whatever. Right. Okay, you get it. UFOs show up at nuclear sites. But beyond sporadic interference with our signals, how do we know they're occupied by any sort of sentient beings? How do we even know these things are real physical aircrafts that land?
They were just multi-levels with all these